Hello, everybody. My name is Alie Phillips, and today I'm going to be presenting the murder case of Jessica O'Grady as pictured above. So, first, we are going to start off with who was involved. The victim is 19-year-old Jessica O'Grady. She was a college student at the University of Nebraska, and she worked at a daycare. The suspect is Christopher Edwards, as pictured on the left. He was also a college student at the University of Nebraska, and his age at the time of the murder is unknown. The relationship with the victim was a sexual casual relationship. They were also co-workers at Longhorn Steakhouse. He did have past criminal history with small sexual offenses. Moving on to what happened. So Jessica O'Grady was presumed brutally murdered on May 10th, 2006 due to stabbing with an 18-inch Bangkok sword. She was reported missing by her friends when she left to go to his apartment and then never returned. Edward's apartment was searched 2 days after she was reported missing and was charged the next day due to the overwhelming amount of evidence that they found during this search. And Christopher did live with his aunt and her daughter at the time of the murder. Other important aspects of this crime to note is the official manner of death was homicide. The official cause of death is listed as exsanguination due to stabbing with sharp force, and that she was stabbed at least 7 to 8 times with the sword. When? Jessica was presumed murdered on May 10th in between the hours of 11:30 p.m. to the earlier hours of May 11th, 2006. As you can see on the left, this receipt was collected as evidence from a trash bag in Christopher's room. The timestamp on this receipt is May 11th, 2006 at 7:41 p.m. He was purchasing, according to this receipt, painting products that were later used to paint over the blood spatter that was found on the ceiling. These products were chemically tested and compared in a lab using spectrometer, and it was concluded that the items bought on this receipt matched the chemical makeup found on the ceiling used to cover up Jessica's blood. On the right here, you can see security camera footage of Christopher buying these products at a local Walgreens. The purchase time is the same as the receipt, around 7:40, 7:41, and he bought poster paint, shoe polish, and correction fluid. Where? This crime happened in Omaha, Nebraska, and it occurred at Christopher Edwards' aunt house in his bedroom that's located in the basement. Christopher Edwards is also charged with moving and disposing of Jessica's body using his black Honda Accord that was later found in the garage of his aunt's house during the search. Where? This shows Christopher Edwards' bedroom on the left. He did have a door that enabled him to go undetected. There was a lot of evidence found in this room. Most of the evidence used to convict Christopher was found in this room, and I will discuss the evidence later in other slides. The dumping and disposal site is still unknown to this day, but as far as it's listed on documents, this room on the left is where Jessica O'Grady was last alive. Why? So the motive for Jessica O'Grady's murder is still sort of a question to this day. Christopher Edwards was allegedly in a more serious relationship with a woman named Michelle, who claimed to be pregnant with his child. Jessica O'Grady claimed to be pregnant with Edwards at the same time as her murderer and at the same time as Michelle. So the motive appeared to be sexually, relationally, or financially motivated. Moving on to the evidence. So blood was the number one evidence collected and used in Christopher Edwards' case. There were 6 to 7 cast-off blood spatter stains that were found on the drywall ceiling that was directly above the suspect's bed. The suspect did unsuccessfully try to cover these stains using the paint bought that I mentioned in slide 5. The suspect's mattress was flipped over during the CSI search, and it contained a moist blood stain approximating around 8 feet in overall size. The amount of blood found was concluded by analysts that the subject whose blood was found on the mattress could not have possibly survived due to blood loss. And also, because there was no body to compare DNA evidence to the blood found in Christopher's room, forensic analysts had to obtain items from Jessica O'Grady's home, such as a toothbrush and a razor, and compare that to the blood. They did match Jessica O'Grady's DNA with the blood found on the bed, ceiling, murder weapon, etc. So starting from the left, the first picture on the left is a picture of a wall that was to the right of the bed in the suspect's room. It was clean to the naked eye, but when forensic analysts were able to do a luminol test, the wall lit up like a Christmas tree. The second picture from the left is a picture of the drywall ceiling with the cast-off blood spatter patterns that you can tell were being used to cover up with a different shade of white. And the third picture from the left is a picture of a blue quilt covering a side stain of blood seeping from under the mattress. And then the fourth picture from the left is the picture of the mattress flipped over and showing the 8-foot stain. More evidence on the left you can see is the official document stating the directionality of the blood, and it was stated the blood droplets were elongated due to hard force. And on the right you can see that CSI investigators were able to determine the point of convergence of the first blow of the sword. They did this using the strings method and were able to conclude that the first stab originated from the top of her body, from her stomach to her head region, depending on if she was laying on her back or on her stomach. On the left, you can see a picture of the sword used in the murder. It is important to note that Christopher Edwards' DNA and blood was found on the handle of the sword, and Jessica O'Grady, the victim's blood and DNA were found on the sharp end of the blade. On the right, you can see a picture of the trunk of Christopher Edwards' car, the black Honda Accord, with blood on the inside, placing Jessica in the trunk at some point. And finally, for evidence, there is a lot more that I would love to discuss in this presentation, but I do not have time to talk about. So if you click this link right here, it will take you to the official crime scene investigator report, and it's very interesting. I would suggest you, if you have free time, to read through it. And finally, the conviction of Christopher A. Edwards is 50 to life without the possibility of parole. He, however, never disclosed the location of Jessica O'Grady's body, despite giving or having the option of plea deals for lesser charges such as manslaughter and second-degree murder. And that is all. I hope that y'all found this case interesting. I hope that you have questions for me, and please submit any questions or comments and I will be responding accordingly. Thank you. Have an amazing day and rest of your quarantine.